Okay, we're live. Welcome back to ArmaGuyz channel, guys. Today I'm going to play a game that a friend of mine just got me called Lake Hopper. We're going to build this seaplane, and we're going to make some deliveries. I have a game already, but I'm going to just start on the default so I can show how to make the plane. So I'll read this. Lake Hopper is in early access. I have much more planned for the future. Any feedback you have or bugs you can find can be shared in the Steam discussions forum. You'll find a handy reference for many useful controls in the lower left corner and a list of all controls in the settings menu. Lake Hopper supports many controls and flight sim peripherals and will support more soon. Detailed tutorials are planned for future updates. You have a pilot's binder full of useful information for assembly, flying and delivering packages. Save early and save often. The journey is just getting started. Have fun. Let's fly. Remember, consult the pilot's binder. Contains checklist, assembly reference, job info, navigation info. And then over here, we've got a big nice arrow that tells you what everything is and all that stuff. So, rotate held item. This is important as well. Well, let's fly. Okay, so before we get started, before we start flying, I'm going to walk over here to the seaplane, let you take a good look at it. I've got some experience with seaplanes. In Stormworks, I actually made the China Clipper, and I learned a lot about clippers and seaplanes. So I've built some, so I know, like I've literally built these from the ground up. Uh, the guy who actually got me this game helped build the modular engines in Stormworks for my China Clipper for the seaplane. So this stream is kind of for him as well. So it's just kind of to show I'm playing the game he got me. So this is our plane. It's moored here in the harbor. And if you come in here, if you open this door, you press E, you can come in here and you can actually change the color. Now, I've never done this, but we'll go ahead and try it. We got custom color. You can change the fuselage 2, underside. Oh, dude, you can fully customize this puppy. So we got the top wing section. You can actually get a fade going on it. That's cool. All right, and then see, I didn't mess with this last time, so you can go super bright red. We can go a green. Look at that. That's cool. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I don't know how to go to exterior view on this. It didn't actually say in views, but that is pretty cool. Okay, so we got green there. You can go the nice sporty color green. You can go dark red. We can go almost a purple. If we go, we can go like a light color blue with a red fade. And that's just fuselage 1. That's not even everything. So I actually liked that sporty colored green. Take this back down. Let's see. I also like the ocean blue. Okay, so let's go. We'll apply with that, and then we'll go. Let's see. So we got that red line there. The red on the nose. Let's see if we can change that. So we got this red. This is a really bright color green. There's a nice color blue. I actually like that. And it's got the white on the bottom. That's cool. So it's got the two tones. And we'll go ahead and apply that. And then let's see what we can do with the underside. So you can leave it white, or you can also change. Kind of hard to see underneath what we're doing here. Oh, that's underneath the wings. I actually like the white. Let's see. I think the white looks pretty good, actually. I like the red color, but I'm more of a fan of the blue myself. So we'll apply that. Let's see what underside 2 does. Maybe it's something separate for the belly. Let's see. Yeah, it changes. I think it changes the. Oh, I see what it's doing. It's changing the. It's a fade of the bottom. It's a fade of the bottom color, so you can actually mix the color for the bottom. That's pretty cool. I never messed with that before. Okay, so let's leave that alone. We'll just apply that. And then we will do the tail, which we have that color there. I'm not big on that. Let's see what we can do. So we got the green, the red up, this green back down, make the blue. I actually kind of like the white. Now we can just get that tail 2 faded in with the right color. You get that light blue. There we go. That's nice. That's nice. All right, we'll do that. We'll go with that. Apply. Okay, so that's the. Oh, you can paint. Look at that. You can put stripes on it. I didn't even see that. So you can really break things down. You can really change things up a lot there. So you can do that. I actually kind of like that. That looks all right. I like that. Okay, we'll use that. Let's see. Let's go done. Okay, so I never did that before. We're gonna do it today. So let's go ahead and get started on building this puppy. So as you can see, we've got 2 empty engine slots here. And on the interior, if you come inside in the floor hatch area, we've got an empty area for the fuel tanks. And then up top, we've got some area up here for the fuel cells and some other stuff going on there, turbo and whatnot. So it's going to take me a minute to build all this, so I'm going to come in here and we'll just get started. Grab that stator. One of the reasons why he bought me this game was because I was in school for aircraft mechanic, and so he thought I might enjoy this. So it tells you what to do. I'm not gonna. You just press G, get your wrench out, and you just basically swap back and forth. It's really easy. It looks harder than what it actually is, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. For those of you guys who have never played the game, let's go ahead and hit B, and let's get started. Welcome, pilot. That plane at the dock is for you, but it needs some care first. Assembling and maintaining the old bird is your responsibility. Get the plane in flying order, after which there are crates in need of delivery to communities in the area. Plane assembly, the plane is missing most of its major subsystems, which can be replaced using the parts in the shed. Parts snap together when highlighted in green. A blue highlight shows where a part will be dropped, and red an invalid drop spot. Use the wrench, default key is G, to bolt the parts together to each other. Trying to attach too many unbolted parts will cause them all to fall apart. Subsystems groups of parts, this is important, can be assembled off-plane as a unit or in place on the plane. The major systems of the plane are the magnoprop engines ×2, the hydrogen fuel tanks, hydrogen fuel cell power plant, main power source, the batteries, secondary power source, instrument panel, cargo racks, and then we've got some information about flying the plane. So, flying the plane is a complex task that can be summed up in a few small tips. It will take learning and practice to master. To get off the ground, the following may be of help. See settings for controls. Take off, use the rope tool. Default key is 1 to cast off. On the water, at low speed, use differential thrust to steer. At high speed, the rudder becomes effective. Take off with flaps down, full throttle, and full prop RPM. Cruise flaps up, reduce throttle for more speed and climb. Performance, reduce propeller RPM. Landing. Flaps down, land slow, staying inside the white arc on the airspeed indicator. Deliveries. Check the bulletin board for deliveries needing to be taken between the local communities. Select a job from the board and check your binder for info on the current job. Look for the 4-character job code in the binder entry and on the relevant crate. Load crates into racks mounted inside your plane to secure them. Drop the deliveries off near the yellow circle depot sign near the bulletin board at your destination. So here we have some diagrams that it's going to explain how to put these pieces together. So we'll have this when it's done, and this will be the next part there, and that. And when you first start doing this, it does look a little bit intimidating. It's not too intimidating. That's the reason why I'm going to do the stream, to show you how simple this actually is. It's really not that hard at all. To begin assembly, assemble 8 stator units by bolting a Bednor's loop to each superconducting coil. Each unit is then attached to the stator support ring, as shown in Figure 2. So here we have Figure 2, and here we have the superconducting coil and the 8 stator units in a Bednor's loop to the superconducting coil. So we got the superconducting coil here, and then we got the stators and the support rings. So let's go ahead and do that first. Oop. Just hit B to close this manual. And so we've tightened the part on here. So let's go. Just press G to put away the wrench, and it will fly just like this. Now you could probably grab several of these stators and attach them all at once if you want, and then just zip each one in. That's not how I do things. It's smarter to do things one at a time, so you know that the bolts are actually in. If you get too far ahead of yourself and you put too many on at one time, you might forget to fasten something. I think it'll let you actually put it on there like that, and you will have problems. And you guys seen on the channel that I had done a live stream of aircraft mechanic simulator, or plane mechanic simulator, and you'll see on that game that actually lets you attach parts and you don't have to screw everything in. And when you get everything put all together, it doesn't work, and you're like, well, what the hell's going on? It's because you didn't screw in everything. So we got one of these done. Okay, simple, easy to do there. And then we just put on the stator rings on each individual part. Screws around the sides, but you can reach them easily from where you're standing. This is the easy part. The other part gets a bit more complicated, but for the most part, this is not hard. I was watching some other videos of people playing this, and I saw that I guess there was some kind of update or something to make this more complex, or they were just starting where most things were already done. I started with the default where you build it yourself, so that I could show you guys the build process. Okay, that's one and done. All right, and to go on to the next step, we'll see here. So we've assembled the Bednor's loop to the superconducting coil. We've got our stators and our stator support rings. And then the next step would be to go on to the core and attach the cowlings. We're going to go ahead and continue to do the other support ring. And you kind of have to just walk around a little bit to find the spot to set it down. Oh. We're just zipping these screws in. Not hard at all. One of the things that's really cool about this game, I was watching on YouTube other people playing, is that there's a younger generation that are playing and they're interested in aviation shows, and I think that's really cool. Games like this get people interested early in careers and things like that, and it gives people a chance to kind of do something that you can't do in a lot of other games, like building this kind of stuff. Games where you have to zip the screws in yourself, and you feel like you've actually done something in that game, and it makes what you're doing in the game a little bit more meaningful. A little zipper doo dah. But yeah, I did the China Clipper, and that will probably be up on the workshop soon. And I've just spent a lot of time getting the balance right. But now Stormworks has weight blocked for flotation, so I'm gonna have to redo it, and it'll probably be a little bit longer. But we have had a lot of fun flying the China Clipper that I built. And I built it to be very, very close to the real China Clipper. I have the fuel sponsons on it. The weight and everything is like it should be. I've got all the gauges for the different crew members. It's quite a plane. We've had a lot of fun flying it. And Rasim, he loves power, and so he made those engines pretty strong. We had to have a lot of power to take off from the water. And Stormworks, if you're building a seaplane, you got to have a lot of things right. And we managed to accomplish a pretty nice plane. Who knows? I might even make a video, do a live flying around in my kind of clipper that I built in Stoneworks. It's a big plane. Took a lot of work. It's not my only big plane that I've done in Stoneworks. I have a B-24 model that I did. I think it was a D model. And okay, so we are now to the next step to do the cores. Now, let's see. The So here are the cores. Magnoprop core. And you just pop them in and they just stay. There is no screw. So you don't have to worry about that. That's really easy and done. Bam. Done. In and on. Okay, so after that, all you gotta do is grab the cowling. I think you actually have to put these together first. If I remember what I did last time. Go ahead and drop this. We might actually be able to put these on the plane and then do it. Last time I had to do it in here. It's not snapping on green. Let's go ahead and take them out. Oh yeah, see? Just like that. Yeah, it snaps in when they're standing up. Let's not do it that way. Let's go ahead and try to get them out here. And we'll put the into the... it won't let me. So we'll just do it this way. We'll go ahead and pop it on. And that's what we needed right there. That's what I was trying to do. Okay, so that's one and done. These are really easy to put on. And then we just fasten them in real quick. Don't forget to do your bolts, or you're probably going to have problems. And there's no way to mix this up. So it's left click to screw in, right click to screw out. So you're not going to accidentally unscrew something by left clicking. So. Alright, so that is together. Just pop that on, just like that. Let's go around to the other side for these. Okay. And we'll save ourselves some trips. I'm going to go ahead and put the props on in here. Let me take it outside. I say in here. I'm gonna do it outside. I don't know if it'll actually fit through with the props on or not. We're not gonna find out. Just pop these on. Actually, we'll go ahead and fasten this first. So originally, I put these on. I made so many trips back in here for this. Just I wanted to put the nacelles on and then slowly do it. And so this completes our engine build. And then all we gotta do is attach it. And this is the easy part. So let's go ahead and take this out there and throw it on. Hopefully it snaps in good, pretty quick like. We'll do our right engine first. And then it just fastens in with one bolt, just like that. It's a little weird that it's only one bolt, but it works. Don't question it. Okay. Hang on just a second. Hello, Linda. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. We got this one here. Actually, I said I wasn't going to do these on here. I'll probably take this back outside. I don't think it'll fit through the door. We could find out, but let's just go ahead and pick it up and take it outside. I think they just ghost through the door. Yeah, looks like all the parts and stuff just goes through the door. So let's build it on the beach. It'll be alright. Once we get these on, the next part becomes a little bit more complex. There's, as you can see, and the way that I built it was I paid really close attention to what I was doing the first time around because I didn't want to screw anything up. If you get rushing through this, I think it'll actually let you build it where it will mess you up. Oh, there we go. Back over the wrench. Fasten this on. Ah, there we go. We got both of our engines on. He's looking pretty. Now we just need to swim back over here. And we will start the next stage. Oh, I don't play Roblox. I don't even know what that is. I know it's a game, but I've never played Roblox. You might have confused me with somebody else. Let's see here. Okay, so the next part. So once the stator is assembled, secure the stator's support ring to the bottom cowling section. See figure 3 connects 3 propeller blades to the magna prop core. We've done that. Which act as the rotor. When placed inside the stator, the core will be magnetically centered and requires no bolts to remain secure. Attach the cowling top section to complete the assembly. Let's see. Individual parts may be removed for maintenance and inspection without disassembling the entire engine. The motor may be operated with the top cowling removed for ground inspection. Failure to properly assemble secure all bolts on the motor may result in increased wear due to vibration, catastrophic failure of the motor while in operation. And I think that's a little weird because it's one bolt to put the engines on. But yeah, that part is done. On to the more complex part. So with this, I was really careful, and you have to really look at the diagram. And if you're not careful, you can definitely make a mistake here. So what I recommend doing is looking at how this all goes together. And you can barely see it, but these little arrows, there's these little arrows. So you got the dotted line, and there's a tiny little arrow, and it kind of tells you how this all connects together. And so if you go down the list, you've got the fuel cell housing, the fuel cell stack, left port, fuel cell stack, or fuel cell housing cap, air intake manifold, intake sensor cluster. That's important. Fuel cell stack, right starboard, same as 2. Turbo compressor with electric start assist. Intercooler duct, intercooler, exhaust sensors 2. Exhaust manifold, hydrogen fuel feed line. And we have a up close figure which kind of zooms in on some of these parts. So we have the intercooler here, and then we have the intercooler duct which connects into the intercooler. Then we have the turbo compressor with the electric start assist. A small sensor which you need to
pay close attention to the intake sensor cluster, and that plugs into 4, which is the intake manifold, and that does it for that assembly. These are sub-assemblies, so you got to be careful. If you try to assemble this all together, I don't think it'll go on the plane. So what I tried to do things a little bit more realistically. I actually grabbed the power plant support frame and took it out to the plane, and it just kind of just snaps in there. Go ahead and open this to keep things realistic. Go ahead and fasten that in. And you can kind of see how things are realistically done here. We actually have little areas that are coming into the plane that are going to feed from the tanks. Or cells, excuse me. Oh, so this game is called Lake Hopper. Okay, so we have a rack outside. So we'll start first with the fuel cell A, fuel cell B. Now these aren't actually listed as fuel cell A, fuel cell B, but these are what I'm going to call them. And as you can see, we've got our fuel cell housing. We will insert these just like this. These just pop right in, and quickly fasten these. And so you got twin assemblies here, and if you look in the manual, you'll see that we had the part 1, which is fuel cell housing, part 2 is fuel cell stack left port, and then it says same as 2 on the fuel cell stack for part 6, which is the same thing. So we've got a sub-assembly going on. And then what we'll do is we'll grab these end caps. Okay, so that is done. And then as you read here, it says for clarity, the support frame is omitted from figure 2 and 3, which let's see. The support frame is a separate component and not integrated into the plane structure. Most parts can only be assembled directly into the frame, rather than independently to the connecting parts. Exceptions to this include, and this is where you need to be careful right here. These are the assemblies that need to be assembled first before trying to put anything else together. So we did the fuel cell assembly 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to do the intercooler assembly 8 and 9 and the sensors 5 and 10. And it specifically talks about the sensors 5 and 10. The configuration is designed to operate using 2 active fuel cell assemblies. Assembly of the starboard fuel cell 6 is identical to the port assembly. So then you got the turbo compressor inlet and outlet lineup with the integrated air duct on the aircraft sensor, Sensor clusters 5 and 10, and this is where these sensors come in handy right here. Very important. Sensor clusters 5 and 10 must be installed. Failure to install these sensors will result in a total lack of compression and will severely impact fuel cell performance. The fuel cell stacks are accessible for maintenance and replacement via the access panels at the rear overhead compartment, which were the doors, which I showed you here. And then this next part will be the fuel cells themselves, or fuel tanks themselves, excuse me. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the intercooler assembly and the sensors. Sensors 5 and 10. If you see right here, so we've got this part, which they say is part 4. The air intake manifold. That's going to have the number 5 sensor connected to it. And then the number 10 sensor is going to go on to part 11, the exhaust manifold. And so if we grab the number 4, just kind of look at it, kind of see this has a straight hose coming straight up. This has a totally different setup. See, we've got this one there. And once you move these, so if you put away your wrench, once you move these, it will stop telling you what these are. So, like, we grab this fuel cell intake, drop it. Maybe it was a bug. I don't know. Anyway, this is part 4. You can see right here. And you can see we've got the hole for the sensor 5. So we grab the sensor, the intake sensor, and it snaps green. And then we just quickly screw that on. So that is sensor 5. And then we have twin sensors, which go on to the part 11 exhaust manifold. And then you can kind of look closely at the diagram to match up what is the exhaust manifold and what is the the hydrogen fuel feed line. Keep hitting escape. It's going to be this part here. So we'll go ahead and take that down. Away the wrench. Grab the sensor. And we've got one on each side. And that's done. So we've got our sensors on. We've got our assemblies here. And we've got the... We've got to do the intercooler. Oh, have the intercooler duct. So that is the part 9 and part 8, which that concludes the intercooler assembly, the sensors, and the fuel cell assembly. And then now what we're going to do is we're just going to connect all this up together. And I personally like to take everything out one at a time. Do that. Check something. So I put the fuel cells in first, and I remember right, it was the... And actually, if you look at these numbers, it kind of tells you what to put in first. You got your fuel cell housings, fuel cell caps, air intake manifold, and then you've got the intake sensor cluster, fuel cell stack, turbo compressor, intercooler duct, cooler, exhaust seal. But they're numbered, and that is kind of the numbers basically kind of tell you what you want to put in first. So these two fuel cells, I'm going to go ahead and grab. You can only do one at a time. I'm just going to run them out to the plane. And as you can see, they go green right there. Just do this one. So for people that are not familiar with like assembly diagrams, this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for you, and that's what I'm doing this for, to show you how easy it actually is. It looks more complicated than what it really is, but it's actually pretty simple. It's not too hard. So those are our fuel cells in. Leave that wrench. And then we see that we've got the number 11 exhaust manifold seems to go on top there and connects into the intercooler and the intercooler duct with the turbo there. This is going to come up underneath. This is going to be the last part, the fuel lines there. So we grab the exhaust manifold. Oh. And it's hard to screw this up because everything's green. It's going to go in anyway. If you make a mistake and you put stuff on before one or the other, it's not going to matter really. These parts don't interfere with each other. It seems like they don't really need to go in any particular order, but I'm trying to do it the right way. So you still see these screws highlight, but they've already been fastened. If you hear thunder, it's because we've been having hailstorms all night. Had a tornado earlier. Let's see. We'll take the intercooler out and attach it. So it's not going to actually let you do that yet. Bring that down here. Gotta let us. I'll just leave that there for now. Fuel. Set that right there. Grab that turbo. Okay. Turbo's in. Duct is on. And there might actually only be one screw for that. I thought there was more than that. This got me a little tripped up when I first saw it. Apparently, it's in there. It's just for some reason it's showing outside the part. Not a big issue there. So that's all done upstairs. So we will close this, and we'll start next on the fuel tank assemblies. This looks really complicated, and when you're doing this, like if you were to do this in real life, this probably would be really complicated. But fortunately, the game is very forgiving, and it's not going to let you put the wrong parts on the wrong tanks. They're also marked, so both auxiliary tanks are interchangeable, and the main tank pieces are not interchangeable. So it's pretty easy to do. When you're grabbing these tanks, just be careful because when you drop them, sometimes they'll go through the floor. If you don't see your tanks, sometimes they'll roll up outside on the beach, just randomly. I don't know why it is, but it works. So we'll drop these two here. Just let her drop right there. So, this is pretty easy. We'll do the first one first. Say we'll do the first one first. Let me go ahead and read this. Liquid hydrogen fuel is stored in 3 cryogenic tanks, 1 main, 2 auxiliary. These tanks hold a total of 70 kg or liquid hydrogen with of liquid hydrogen, excuse me, with an internal volume of 1 cubic meter at a temperature of 244 Celsius or 407 Fahrenheit with a pressure of 100 psi, 6.9 bars. So port left, auxiliary tank, capacity 11.5 kg, and then we have the liquid hydrogen. Plane 4, so you can see that the front end of the tanks, which are the blunt ends, go towards the front of the plane. And here we have, it should say plane aft. Plane aft right here. So these are going to go toward the back of the plane. So you can't get this wrong. It's not going to let you put it in backwards anything. And then we have the main tank at 47 kg liquid hydrogen. Starboard right auxiliary tank capacity 11.5 liquid hydrogen. Again, these are twin auxiliary tanks. And if you want to know what auxiliary means, it just means helper, assistant. They're just helping tanks. And so on some planes, these will feed first, or in some situations, these would feed first. You use your auxiliaries on takeoff sometimes, and then you use the main tank for flight, and then in cruise, you would use the auxiliaries as well. And then on landing, you switch back again to your main tank, or some vice versa. I think I might have screwed that one all. Anyway, so let's go on to the figure 1. So we've got these various parts, and this is a lot smaller. It's really not all that complicated. You got an inlet, an outlet, heat exchanger, refrigeration loop, leak detector, pressure sensor, temp sensor, pressure relief valve, level sensor, and then it's basically mirrored. It's I say it's mirrored. These are both the same. Both auxiliaries are the same. And these components are the same components. They're just going on a larger tank. It's really difficult to actually mix up your auxiliary parts with your main tank, because they're actually labeled as auxiliary. If you look here, we have the level sensor main, level sensor aux, level sensor aux. So we'll do, let's go ahead and look first. We'll look at the number 1 inlet, and that's the top. You can see that your refrigerant loop has 2 holes down here. 2 holes, 2 holes. So it's, oops. So you can't mix it up. Your refrigerant loop is those 2 holes. Refrigerant loop is those 2 holes. Refrigerant loop is those 2 holes. Well, on this one it's different. On the larger tank, you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's first go ahead and do our inlet. We'll do our main tank first. We'll come over here. Obviously, the larger part is for our main tank. It even says right there, pickup inlet main. And you just pop that in. Boop. Screw it in. Like that. And go to the outlet. Again, same thing. Pretty simple. Outlet, main. And then you got your 2 auxiliaries for outlet. They're even organized over there. So you can't screw this up. So, heat exchanger refrigeration loop. You've got your heat exchanger, aux, heat exchanger aux, and then your large heat exchanger main. This has more screws because it's a larger part. Most have like 2 screws. So that's a refrigerant. And then we have the leak detector, number 4. Which I think is, so we got our temps, relief valves, pressure sensors, and we've got our leaks. Delete main. And as you can see, you can't screw this up. It pops right in. And if you just start playing, you won't know that. And it's good that you don't know that because you'll be more careful, right? So you should assemble it as if you're really assembling a tank and you could screw things up. It's just good practice to do that. Leak detector, pressure sensor, temperature sensor. There we got leak detectors. We need the pressure sensor next. Times 10. Relief. Pressure. Boom. 2 screws. Done. And it doesn't show here to put in the rack first, but I'll be putting in the rack first. Now, one of the things you could do is you could go ahead and assemble these and then put them into the racks while you're in here to save you the trips. I just did everything one at a time, so I'd go put in the rack and I'd take each down. I'm not going to do that this time, so time. So we've got temp sensors next. Pressure relief valve. And if this was like a situation where like it's Stormworks and you have to know every single part, you'd probably want to pay close attention to this. But in this game, it's going to be forgiving if you don't remember what everything is, because you really don't need to worry too much about that. You also have the manual to look at here. So we've got the level sensor, which is the last part for the main. And it's going to be right here. Screw these in. And that's main tank done. Okay, now all we gotta do is do the both auxiliary, which is very, very simple. We get our intakes. Boom. Boom. I recommend doing both parts at the same time, just make sure you screw them. Do your left and your right at the same time. So those are inlets. These are your outlets. Zip these in. And then we'll refer back to the manual. Go to the refrigeration loop is next. You really can't screw these the order up either. You can just do them however you want to do them. It really doesn't matter as long as you do them. If they had difficulty level, this would probably be difficult. So now we've got the leak detector next, number 4. I'm doing things by the numbers as if we were really building this. What's that, leak detector? Oh yeah, that's the main thing. So pressure sensor number 5. Sensor. Pressure sensor. Then we've got the temp sensor, number 6. Having a little trouble moving my mouse. Okay. Then we have the pressure relief valve and the level sensor. So these are the relief valves. And you can't screw this up because they're twins, so just pop them on, screw it in. Alright, that is the tanks assembled. Now all we do is grab the cradle, just drop it here. If it'll let us assemble this in-house, it will. I didn't do it in here originally because I thought it wasn't going to fit through the door, but apparently it did. And remember, like I said, blunt ends toward plane. It doesn't even let you put it in backwards if you want. I know what happened. I know what happened. We forgot to do our screws. They're screws, you just can't see them. There they are. Yeah, that's freaking out a little bit. That's not good. It will be fine. Let's drop. If, like I said, if you lose your fuel tanks due to some kind of weird thing, I didn't see the screws whenever I put them in the cradle last time. But, if you lose your fuel tanks like this, if they roll underneath the plane or whatever, just look over there on the beach; they'll be there. Go ahead and slap that in. Not only that, but last time too, like I said, I was trying to do things realistically, so I put the cradle in first. Yeah, so we lost a fuel tank, and it's going to be down there in the water somewhere. There it is. So I did things just a little bit differently this time, so I kind of had some spaghetti going on. Okay. Put these in. And that is the plane assembled. Well, we got to do the battery racks. I forgot. It's important that you do the battery racks in here. These can go in the racks. The internal racks can go in. It's important to do the battery racks inside. If you don't, you're gonna be making a lot of trips. You want to be able to see what's going on at the back of those battery racks. Put those in. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, carrying these out here and putting them in, but I know that that's the next step. You go to the next page, you'll see the assembly reference here, high voltage battery bank. These battery banks allow for the installation of high voltage, high current battery units. Each rack can mount 3 battery units and single required control unit. Each battery unit has a capacity of 5.5 kilowatt hours. With this limited capacity, flights of any length must use the fuel cell system for power. The Battery banks may serve as backup in emergency situations. Depending on condition, max power rating of the liquid hydrogen fuel cell power plant, battery capacity may be a requirement for takeoff in order to meet the engine's power requirements at full throttle. So here you have this, and you got these are 3 battery cells, and then you've got the breakout cable which goes at the back, and then you've got the control unit which goes at the top here, and the battery unit times 3 or times 2. Yes, yeah, there's 3. And then we have the leads. So there's 2 leads on each one, and they plug in. You got obviously plugs in. Figure 1 assembled battery bank charge condition screen. This will display what level of charge you have. There's the breaker. In order for an individual battery unit to charge or supply power to the aircraft, the breaker switch must be flipped on. The charge condition screen will display the battery's charge percentage regardless of the breaker's position. Racks may be installed in the plane cabin to allow for the installation of the battery banks or cargo racks. Secure the rack to the plane and install a cargo rack or cargo crate rack or battery banks in each section. Precise configuration may be determined by the aircraft operator. Now, this is just me, but I pay attention to the manual, and if you look at the manual, you can see that the chair for the co-pilot is here. You have your cargo, 4 crates there, and then you have your battery. You have your battery at the back. I've seen other people that are playing the game install their batteries here or even here, and I don't know if the game actually accounts for weight or not, but if the game does account for weight, you may actually want to keep those batteries as what it shows in the manual, because it's more than likely that your engines are heavy here and your batteries need to be at the back for a little bit of drag for takeoff. If you're putting the batteries forward, you're putting too much weight towards the engines at the front, and in a seaplane, when you're trying to take off, you don't want weight at the front like that. That's not good. You've got to get that nose out of the water. So, thought I'd explain that real fast before we carry on any further than that. So these are the goods racks. We could have probably installed these while those were in here. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't accidentally take out the battery rack first. We'll just snap these in. Like I said, you gotta make a lot of trips in and out. Depends on how you do things, you'll make more or less trips. It's pretty easy to do most of this stuff. I'm just doing it because it's live, and if somebody is interested in playing the game, or how in-depth it is to build, you'll know. Like I said, I'm going to put my battery racks at the back, just like it shows in the manual. And a lot of people that are playing this game, I've noticed, they don't really pay that much attention to the manual. You should really pay attention to the manual. The person that made the game wrote the manual to get you to have the most efficient gameplay. So, there's some things you want to do like the game tells you to do. Okay, so let's go install these batteries into the racks. So we've got 1 battery rack, 2 battery racks, 6 battery cells, 3 each, and then we've got the control unit at the top. So we'll grab the control unit. It wants to face that way. We'll zip these in. If you don't do this in here, and you do it in the plane, you'll end up having to probably take the battery attachments back in. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. Pop these in. Hopefully this removes some of the guesswork for people that are going to play the game. If you want to just jump right in, you can just hurry up and get it pulled. So here we have the breakout cables. And then we have all 6 leads. Two leads for each cell. Okay, so those are assembled, and then we just pick them up. If you've never flown a seaplane before in any of the games that have like realistic physics, you're going to be in for a treat when you try to fly this thing. There's a certain way of doing things. I recommend looking at the manual and reading it carefully. But I figured out how to do the routine, I think, that works the best. So we've got all the parts out of here. We've got all the parts out of here. Just need to install the instrument panel. And snap to just right there. That is the plane assembled. That was all you needed to do to assemble the plane. So now what we'll do is we will look at the job board, and I'm going to go to Mini Peaks Cove. So I'm going to grab all the Mini Peaks Cove jobs, but if you want, you can pack all packages for each location on, or you can do one at a time. It really doesn't matter. It just depends on how much you actually want to fly. So you have the job info, origin test island, which is where we are, and the destination, contents. Now, I don't know whether or not the contents matter weight-wise or not, but I'm assuming yes, probably. So we'll grab that, and if you open your menu, you go to after where we assembled the battery. You've got your checklist and stuff. Navigation explained. And then we've got our current job, which we're going to Mini Peaks Cove, GY83, and then we'll find the package. If we were only going to take one, then we would find just GY83, be done. This is GY83. Fish. And you know what? I might actually just take one. That'll leave open option to refly the route several times if we want. That way we're not just doing it all in one whack. And then the last part, now that we've got our cargo loaded on board, is to go ahead and fuel up and leave out. So if you don't have a fuel cap on here, this is just going to go straight in. Grab this puppy. Okay. Boom. And it tells you right here on the station what you need to do. Connect fuel nozzle to vehicle. Open vehicle tank cut off switch. Start to begin fueling. Disconnect and return nozzle once fueling is complete. So we're looking for the tank cut off switch. We'll come up here to the main. I'm getting tongue-tied. We'll come up here to the overhead panel, and we're gonna do the fuel cutoff. Open. Oh, this tank cut off, my bad. What am I doing? Doesn't really matter. Both of them are gonna have to be open anyway, but we'll go ahead and off. Okay, and then we'll start fueling. And you can see these little needles are moving, and if you come in here, you can hear it. And if you look at your fuel gauge, you can see we are filling up. Auxiliaries are full. Main tank is filling. Main tank is filled. That closed. Turn it home. And we're basically ready for takeoff. We're done in there. So we will not close that door just yet. So let's see here. I'm going to get into the seat, and I'm going to explain a few things. So you got trim tabs here. These will show how much trim you're actually applying. Then we've got your speedometer here. We've got your compass heading here. Your vertical horizon here. Your altimeter here. VSI. Then we've got your, what is this called? It's, can't think of the name of it. It's basically gonna be used to, go to the VOR station that you're gonna use. I think it's called a radio compass, I can't remember. Okay, so, let's see. And then we've got your flaps display. You can hold for reverse, lights blinking, reverse is engaging. Do not use in flight, which, give or take, that's kind of true and untrue. And then we have autopilot, which I didn't really use much. I'm not going to. But this is gonna, let's see, so we've got our flight yoke, rudder pedals there, and then we've got our throttles and our prop. If we go back to the checklist, so we've got a before taxi engine start, pre-flight inspection complete, passenger briefing complete, cargo secure check, dock lines cast off, rear door closed, flaps up. So, pre-flight inspection, all parts are all connected, all the screws are on. We don't have any passengers but us. Then we have, or pilot actually, not a passenger. Then we have the cargo secure check, which there's no real way to actually secure the cargo, you just plop it in there. Then we have the dock lines cast off. Like I said, it's moored, so out the seat. Now, if you want, you could potentially do your engine run-ups and stuff while you're still connected to the dock. It's not really going to hurt anything, I believe. So you hit 1, and then E. Not E. Click. And then press E. Again, 1. Not letting me do it. Try again. 1, and then right click, detach. You still hold the plane. Just press E. And just press 1 again to put the rope away. So we are unmoored now. Go ahead and press E to close the door. Hop in our flight seat, and we'll do our pre-flight checks. Okay, so normally I would verify that the control surfaces are working and functioning before I even took off. I don't know how to actually change view. I'll look real quick and double check. I don't know what the button is to change view. I just, oh, look, right there it is, bracket. So we'll go ahead and go to the exterior views, and we'll check our ailerons. We'll check our rudder. Check our elevators. And we're good. We'll go back into the cockpit. Open the manual again. We are flaps up. Rear door is closed. All good there. Power plant start. Battery master on. Battery master set to on. Tank cutoff open. Fuel cutoff open. 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 That's got the fuel going. We'll give it a second. Fuel pressure is 1.5 to 3 bar. We'll look up here on our panel, overhead panel. And we'll check and verify that our pressures are where they should be. We have your fuel pressure here. We have your fuel rate, our output, and then you've got your the word would then range. Fuel pressure's good. Electric master on. Go to, what was the electric master? Okay, so that's the left master and right master. Hang on a second. Electric master on. Just a nice little pop. Now, we go to battery charge, set to off. Fuel pressure is 1.53 bars, we've confirmed. Power boost mode, auto. Power boost mode is now set to auto. Motor master both on. Okay. On. Throttle both open 1 centimeter. Prop lever 1 centimeter. And then you'll start your engine and then wait for 10 kilowatt and 400 RPM on the prop. And then turn your starter off. And then 8 through 11 for the right motor, of course. 10 kilowatt, 400 RPM. So here's the thing with this. For this game, you go into settings, and you go to plane controls, and you pay attention to all of these different buttons. So you've got your pitch up, pitch axis, roll left, roll right. You've got your yaw, and you come down here to throttle all. So that's for both engines. Throttle decrease for both engines. So we've got shift and control to decrease and increase throttle. And we've got on the throttle 1 and throttle 2 decrease. You want to pay attention to this right here. For the throttle 1 increase and decrease, it's 9 and O. And then we have the 0 and P. That's going to be for the left and the right engine. The reason why that's important is because when you're on the water, that's how you're going to steer. You're going to use differential thrust. With combination, I guess, with the rudder, but rudder won't do much without that. So then on the propeller, this is also important because you don't want to have full increase on the prop and then just start pulling away with really, really low speed. You want to be able to try to sit idle for a second so you can do some run-up checks and all that stuff. And so for the prop, for each engine, we have an increase, decrease for all, which is the backspace and the bracket. And then we have prop increase, decrease on each engine with the minus key in the bracket for prop 1 and the equal in the bracket for prop 2. They're a bit weird to get used to, and it's a little weird that the flaps up is F and the flaps down is V, because most of the time in Flight Simulator 2004, our flaps down were actually flap F. Took a little bit of control, took a little bit getting used to those controls. These buttons are also vitally important because when you're flying, unless you want to constantly fight with the plane, you're going to want to trim. So K is trim up, elevator trim down is I, rudder trim, which is your left and right yaw, is M and N, and your aileron, which is your roll left, roll right, is going to be L and J. And then, of course, to reverse your engines is going to be to hold. And that concludes the control setup if you're using keyboard, of course. I haven't flown with a stick or a joystick, so like a controller. So that is that. Let's get back to taking off. So, like I said, we have the left starter. So you want to start your left engine first. On prop planes, reciprocating engines and stuff, it depends on what kind of plane you're flying, because some of them will require you to start the left engine first, some of them will require you to start the right engine first, and the saying goes, a good pilot starts his right engine first. But on this one, they want you to start the left first, so that's okay. It's because it turns over the generator typically. like on the C-130, I think it's the number 2 turns over the starter. It might be the number 3, not starter, but the generator. Okay, so that's done that. Let's go ahead and start our engines. And like I said, 10 kilowatt, RPM 400. Here we go. What was that? The B. So. And one of the reasons why I was mentioning all that stuff first is because on keyboard, it's really hard to crack these open slightly. I'm just going to just barely tap shift. And if you do, that's going to get you moving already. And it's going to start pulling, which we don't want. And that's even with the props completely at 0. So it's kind of those things. Alright, let's go ahead and start the other engine. And like I said, that was with both throttles forward. Because if you don't start both, and you don't do both first, you're going to constantly start pulling to one side or the other. So you don't want asymmetric thrust. That is the purpose of the power booster. So, got them both on at the same time, both cracked open at the same time. We're also going to do the drop pitch at the same time. Now, it's important for you to take a moment once you start to take off to get accustomed to steering with this plane using differential thrust. So again, we have the 9 and 0 controlling your left engine, 9 to increase thrust, which is going to push you to the right, O to decrease thrust, which is going to basically allow the other engine that has thrust to take over. But we've got the 0 key, which is going to increase the throttle, but obviously to the left. So now we've basically made a full circle loop. You can also apply rudder if you want. It's not super useful when you're doing this. So now we're going to apply both. Throttle, we're going to crack that throttle open just a hair. And we're going to go ahead and use the props instead of the throttle. Increasing the prop, what you're doing is you're increasing the pitch of the blades. I think actually, I don't know if that controls feather or not, but I think it does. We're moving more. This is your prop RPM actually, so it says it is, but I think it also controls feather. Feathering is the angle of the blades, by the way, so you have a flat angle, you're not grabbing lots of air. If you angle your blades, you're grabbing more air, which obviously is going to be better. We're going to go ahead and taxi around on the water for a second. Apply the thrust of the opposite engine of which we want to turn. If you want to turn right, apply left thrust. If you want to turn left, apply right thrust. And just try to reduce the prop RPM. I see. drop RPM, increase the throttle while holding reverse, allow us to slowly back up. You gotta give it quite a bit of power. Unless we beach. Might have beached when I came forward like that. Have a look outside the planes. Hopefully we didn't beach. Don't really look. Oh yeah, we might have beached. Ooh. Increasing forward thrust, holding R versus the force. If this happens, it's an easy, simple fix. Hit escape, recover plane, recover the plane, just unpause, and you can actually change the angle and everything. Very simple, easy to recover. Just hit click, and we should be able to. Engines are still started, we should be able to reverse. I think we're still beached, it's reverse, not working correctly. We can try forward. We're still beached. Recover the plane. I was trying to turn around to the dock, and I had it, and then I accidentally hit semicolon instead of hitting the P. So we beached. Okay, so engines are all started. You've got to kind of keep a little bit of throttle on these, but you can turn off your starters once these are started. You don't need to have those on. So, we've walked through this procedure here. So now we'll do the run up. We have left propeller 1000 RPM, left throttle 100 kilowatt. If you look for your RPM kilowatt, power output 150, 150, 110, 150, and then use this manual. You'll see right here, go to 10, 10 now, so RPM there. RPM. And it was set to, what was it, 100 kilowatt? Keyboard throttles quite sensitive to the actually I shouldn't really say it's sensitive because tap it, and it gives you a lot more than we're just kind of taxiing around on the water. Doing the run up, you're supposed to do one engine at a time, just doing both throttles at the same time, but you really don't have to. We can go ahead and take off if we want. Beat 136 for the right motor, and our fuel pressure. To check the engines, it's going to rise to what? 2 to 2.7 bar. Fuel rate is 16 kg, and that's with this setting, 1000 RPM. And we are right there on the money. 7. Fuel rate's lower because of the I'm pretty sure. So if you bring your throttle all the way to 0 and your starters aren't on, your props will stop. Turn these back on. Starters off. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just take off, and I'm going to show you guys how I take off in this thing. We've already checked the controls and everything. So this is important right here. Power booster mode set to on. We're going to go out of auto and set that to on. What that does is it's going to give your engines max power availability. Okay. Now here we go. So you want to pay close attention to what's going on here. So let's do one little teeny tiny thing we have to do. So we want to set our VOR. So we're going from Test Island to Many Peaks. Many Peaks is 108.3. So we'll hit B and we'll go over here to the nav and set it to 108. On this right here we have the from. We want 2. We're going to turn this knob until it switches over to 2. And then once we get to right there, we continue to turn it until that white line matches up exactly with that arrow there. And that's going to give us our heading. How we're going to get there. I wanted to do that before we took off. I'm too eager to show you how to take off in this more than I am. Paying attention to everything by the numbers, which I should be doing. So, but it's because this is tricky. So again, like I said, check the manual. The batteries are in the back. So you're going to point it straight forward. Make sure those flaps are 0. And then we're just going to go ahead and full throttle. And we're going to hover our hand. We're not even going to set trim. Don't even bother with trim. So you can if you want, I guess. But if you do, set it for about 10%. I'm not going to set trim. Low-plane pilots typically take off with neutral trim. So now, we're going to set We're going to hover our hand over the flaps. We're going to watch that speedometer as we're taking off. So it takes a second for the speedometer to pick up. We're going full power. As soon as that speedometer picks up, watch our artificial horizon. You'll see how I'm able to actually balance those wings now. Now we're at 40. Okay, we're going to apply just a little bit of rudder here. Okay, bobbing. We're going to pull back on the stick. And we're going to apply 1 notch of flap. That is how you fly. I'm just going to go ahead and pull those flaps up. And I'm flying on a keyboard. I'm not using a controller, so it's a little wobbly. I'm just using the rudder, turn, and get balanced out. If you want, you can just pull straight up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to linger. Go ahead and turn down the throttle. I'm going to land it. So I'm going to land it. Because you don't want to land a boat plane too hard. So what we'll do, again, we will cover our fingers over the flat button. Keep our wings nice, straight, and level. Apply rudder as needed. We're going to see our altitude drop to about 200. And we're just going to kind of just keep nice and parallel with the water. And we're at 100 now. We'll give it 1 notch of flaps. And 70, actually 80. We'll give it 2 notches of flaps. And we're just going to go ahead and just let the nose kind of fall a little bit. We're just going to bring it in. Going nice and slow. Let the nose just gently glide down. And right as you're about to touch the throttle, nice and buttery smooth. And I had a little bit of a rough takeoff, but it still worked. So it won't work if you do this wrong. And this is the reason why I was showing you guys how to do this, because if you do it wrong, your nose is just going to bobble all over the place, and you're going to be all over the place. You don't want that. So we got to restart our engines, track the throttle, start it off. I'm going to go ahead and turn this way. Take off it. Using the throttle. Tap the rudder. It's nice and straight. Turn the throttles back to 0, because I don't want asymmetrical thrust, right? And so after takeoff, once you're off the ground, you'll go ahead and flip that back to auto. But for right now, we want it on. Okay, so again, start your engines after you crack the throttle. Okay, that engine comes out. We're nice and straight. Apply full throttle. Rub your finger over the flaps. Level off the wings. Tap the rudder as needed. Wings are level. At 70. So go back on the stick at about 60. The second you hit 70 is when you take off with the flaps. Don't drop the flaps until you hit 70. Start doing this kind of stuff, that's when you go ahead and you crease back down. You shouldn't bobble up off the water more than maybe 1 time. You start violently bobbling, lower the speed back down and try again. Let's go again. Hang on a second. Like I said, the speedometer takes a second to start moving. We're going to apply rudder while leveling the wings. Pull back on the stick. Rudder, and apply that flap. I had a little bit of hesitation on the takeoff, but it still gets you up. If your nose starts bobbing though, in water like that, it's bobbing up and down. Couldn't do it more than about once. The moment your nose starts to bob is when you need to pull back on the stick. Notice how whenever I was taking off that last time, not this time when I took off, but the last time, I wasn't able to get to 70, which is the speed at which you're actually supposed to apply the flaps. We're going to land again. We're going to go ahead and drop the flaps. Then come into 200. Increase. I'm coming in a little bit faster. Coming in a little bit faster on that one than what I wanted to, because it's reduced to 0. So I'm trying to get these flaps to go up. Okay, that'll screw you all up. All right, so again, here we go. Full speed. Apply the rudder. Apply that rudder as needed. As soon as the speedometer picks up, you should be able to start leveling the wings. Got that rudder nice and straight. Yeah, we're bobbling like that. That's not what you want. That bobbling starts happening. Drop the throttle back down. Throttle, tapping the rudder, waving the wings, the rudder, back on the stick, tap the rudder, hold it, wings, flaps, just like that. And I'll do the water landing thing, turn around. Real sensitive when you're flying with the keyboard. I'm pretty sure I can fly this way better if I was using the joystick. But I don't know if it supports it. I need to find out. And spin around. And start to decrease the throttle. I'm going to try to keep my speed about 90. We're way too high, so we still at 100. You can come in at 100, it's not a problem, but you're gonna have a longer. So we're at 200, reducing the throttle, first notch of flaps, lightly tap the nose. Just want to keep the nose just barely up. We're at 80, second notch of flaps. Release the throttle. Nice and buttery smooth. The reason why the nose was bouncing up a little bit is because, like I said, I was tapping S because the, let me see if my joystick works with this game. Let's see. I mean, my joystick on? Let's see. Controls. I don't know if you can use a joystick. It says maybe my joystick's not plugged in. Let's go ahead and save real quick. We'll go back to the dock. I'm gonna save and I'm gonna try to see if I can use the joystick, and it probably flies so much better. Go ahead and turn that power booster back to auto so it shuts up for a minute. You see how everything just dropped way low? Boost dropped to 0, everything. Our output dropped. That's the reason why you want that power booster on, and not on auto. You have a lot more power when the booster's actually on. I've seen a lot of people try to take off with that set to auto. You're robbing yourself of a lot of engine power. You don't need to do all that. Okay, I'm gonna try to plug in my joystick. Hopefully it's just plug and play. We'll see. Find out. Alright, let's find out if it works. Just plugged it in. No, it's not working. I may have to restart the game. Well, I said we'll save. We'll go ahead and just save now. Go ahead and 0 settings, so we'll be started at the water. Save. So we'll call this water takeoff. Save. And I will quit. Hopefully I don't have to reset my OBS. Let's see if it'll support my Flight 1 HOTAS. Let's try it. Okay. Relaunching with the joystick plugged in. Hopefully it works. Load game. Water takeoff. Load. Are we responsive? No, we are not. Borderless window. Controls.
I guess it doesn't work with a HOTAS. That sucks. I thought it would. I thought for sure it would. Oh, wait. What was that? Okay, that's me. That's a really cute bird. Damn it. Yeah, well, I guess it doesn't work with the HOTAS. Whatever. Okay, not a big deal. Let me go ahead and get taken off. We're already set for our VOR. Let's go deliver this package. Flaps down too soon. We'll get it. There we are. We're off. Yay. I'm gonna get her on the right heading. Trim. I'm gonna get at least pointed in the direction that we want to go. Get some altitude. Go ahead and turn off power boost here in just a second. See, we took off actually on auto on that. It's because I turned it off before I saved game. I should have turned it back on. That's the reason why we were bobbling. We didn't have quite the same engine power. As soon as we get this nose up above these mountains, I'm going to trim off. This thing is just rocking. Rocks all over the place and constantly tackling. Ready to reset that now. Okay, so we're working. Go ahead and just nose up here. Might be high. Eyes trimmed down.
it's flying now that I got it all trimmed out. You just want to make sure you trim the plane, otherwise you're going to fight the controls first. We're almost bang on our heading. So I have not been to the location yet, just so y'all know. I had some issues when I first started. We're going. Have a look at our plane. But it's because I had to explain some things with the assembly for other people that I get to understand. Just taking my time, reading, all that stuff. So while we're flying around, you can read. Takeoff, got our climb. And as you can see on the climb, it says power boost auto. Drifting. Keeping my wings level and tapping the trim on the rudder, of course. We're almost dead center. Just trying to get it exact. I think that's going to be good. We might be a few degrees off, but it should be alright. Probably don't need to be this high, but I like to be this high. It's better for the engines. And also, when you're up at higher altitude, turning on the boost to get more engine power might give you a little bit better fuel economy too. This plane is pretty good on fuel though. Like we hardly used a SIF. Tell if that's the wing trim throwing me off or if that's the rudder trim throwing me off. It's just a slight variation, but when you're navigating, even a degree can become several Okay, we're pretty well bang on this. Tap the rudder a little bit, we're winging it. So if you look, we have the climb, cruise. The cruise doesn't mention power boost mode being set to on, but you could probably toggle that on. It's just going to be noisy. Really don't need it for cruise. Descent, throttle set, throttle set, rhythm trim set, power boost mode set to auto, landing, power boost mode set to on, and elevator set. Landing below 100 knots, flaps 1, which is exactly what I was doing earlier. Flaps 2 below 80, on normal approach 70 knots. Flaps up on landing, power boost mode again set to on. Slightly. So the way that these VOR stations work is if you overfly them, the 2 will flip to from. It's been a long time since I've been on a flight simulator. Most of the time when I'm flying games, it's usually on fighters and stuff. Fly a lot of civilian. Pretty high, we really don't need to be this high. I usually fly through visual recognition. You gotta be careful with this map because this map doesn't really accurately depict land. So you want to make sure you're bang on the heading you need to be, or you're going to be off. So, drifted by a fly degree or two. But we'll know if we pass it because that'll flip from. Rudder's trimmed out if I tap it. It's going to throw out. Watched another guy, he was flying. He says that he turns on autopilot to reset all this. I don't recommend that. I don't think you should do that. Just learn how to fly the plane without autopilot. You really don't need autopilot if you turn it on. As we're flying around and looking, the way that you do things is called visual flight rules, VFR. IFR would be if these clouds were so thick that you couldn't really see down, you'd be looking mainly at instruments, which I am anyway, but we got this little crab claw looking tell if you don't pay attention from the start to finish to your terrain features where you're at. And look, we have things have happened. VOR needle is now moved on us. Drifting off. We got us all nice and trimmed out and just looking at the main and started drifting while I was looking at the main. Now we gotta fly the plane back in the direction of which the needle is pointing. It should slowly realign itself. Hey, we can't just fly the same heading, we've gotta turn back in order to correct being thrown off course. You can see that needle slowly starting to slide back to the middle. Just that small variation and just a few notches of trim keep us from being 3 degrees off to a lot of degrees off. Probably about 15 degrees off course. So we're just going to continue to fly in the direction of which the needle leaned. Just going to let it slowly slide back toward the middle so we don't overshoot. We're pretty high. We really don't need to be this high. 8,000 feet is taking a lot to trim the plane. Slowly starting to slide back on the course. As soon as that needle gets centered again, we'll go back on course. Damn bobbing nose like that. We're off on the needle again, 5 degrees. Time to descend, and moving the wings around makes you have to reset all your trim, which throws you off course. I want to get lower down so I can see where the destination is when we get to it. So as you can see, when we took off, it's hard to see what the destination is. Unless you're really close to it. We're in yellow on speed because of the light goes down dive. We'll go ahead and reduce some engine power. Try to get back on that needle. Just now into the green. Go ahead and try to get the nose back up. So we're bang on. Now we just need to make sure that we get that. Needle's trying to fly away from us. So we go. If you can't tell already, if the needle slips to the right, you fly to the right. If the needle slips to the left, you fly to the left. You keep that needle as straight as possible. Yeah, I think that's your radio. We've lost a lot of altitude. I want to lose a little bit more. Almost dead on course. Look at that needle. slightly below the horizon, so we can keep gaining altitude. Going a lot slower now, so that's good. And we overflew the super close to being right on course. Super, super close. We're almost back where we need to be. We can just get these settings right. Now, we're slipping again. On flying, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, I think we're where that needle goes. Starting to slowly slip that way. Let's get going. As you get closer to the VOR station, the needle will be more sensitive if you're coming up on it. That's probably what's going on.
I hope. Almost dead on course of which told us to be on. The needle's trying to slip back that way. The wings over correct before we start slipping too far. I was almost completely straight.
be it. And it's getting super sensitive. Let me see if I can look outside here and see. Oh, there it is. It's right underneath us. Okay, here in a second, it will fly. It will go. Yeah, see, look, it flipped from to. So we overpassed it, which means we're bang on. So we did a good job. We made it. We made it. All we got to do is come down at altitude. We're still pretty damn high. I have lots of fuel left. Barely even touched our main tank. Less than half used on auxiliary. I still got it. That's good to know. It's been a long time since I've been in a civilian plane. Civilian plane. Besides storm watch, of course. Most of the time in storm watch. Just like the map you can use. You can get it in the workshop. Let's go ahead and start reducing speed. So we drop some altitude. Get those down. We've got nothing to time now, so we're just buttery smooth. Drop on in. And so I can see relative to what was over there, so we don't want to go too low. But we'll come in nice and wide. So we're still at 5,000 feet. Swing in nice and wide. There should be a reset trim button. Instead of using the autopilot, it's a reset trim. Keeping it nice and safe speed. Let's see. Pull that nose up right here. 3,000 feet. Pull that nose up just a little bit. Continue to descend. We keep our feet above 110. Or maybe too slow. 110 is a good speed to come in at because at 100 we're going to drop the flat. So nice and wide. Swing around the island here and straight into the top. 1,000 feet. Could have landed closer, but I didn't want to get too close. I think that's the dock right there. Those look like boathouses. So right now, I'm going fast enough where I'm able to steer using the rudder a little bit. Here in a second, we're going to switch over to differential thrust. I see the dock. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Swing out this way. Where we're supposed to dock to. There's docks everywhere. I don't know where we're supposed to go. We'll just park here. Let's push that. Do that. On that rudder. Reduce engine power in the other engine. Like a glove. I think we were supposed to land on the outside. Go ahead and let our engines pull us up until we get the mooring line. I'm going to let them pull us up just a little bit more. I'm going to be free and clear of the prop. I'm actually on the rudder right now, trying to keep it close to the dock. Okay, let's go ahead and stop the engines. I don't know why those starters were actually on. They should have been off when we took off. Let's go ahead and do our procedure for shutdown. Shutdown, throttle cut off, prop cut off, motor master both off. Power boost mode off. Battery charge off. Electric master off. Where's electric master? That's battery master. This electric master. There it is. Electric master is now off. Fuel cutoff closed, tank cutoff closed, and the battery. Fuel cutoff closed. And we are here. And that is that. Let's open the door. We're a little far away, but we'll be alright. Grab a rope. Oh, we're through the dock. Okay, that's great. Nice. Not quite what I wanted, but it'll work. Now, let's see if I can get back up here. Okay. And so it's something about a yellow mark or something. I'm trying to just jump over that plane for a second. Yeah, there we go. Grab this. Oh, I didn't make the jump. Can we get onto the dock? No. It doesn't want to. It let me up there a second. There it goes. All right, let's figure out where we're supposed to deliver this because I don't know where we're even supposed to go to. Is this it? It looks like it's it. Hi, I ain't gonna ramble too much. My name's Marge. That's my old shop. Okay, this is. There's more parts in here. But where do we... Oh, there it is. Package drop off. Here we go. Drop goods, it says. Bada bing! Delivered. Alright. That's one down. Let's go... Let me see. Yeah, I think... Let me see. Okay, well, we're 2 hours 44 minutes. That's a longer flight than what I thought, but that actually, we got a lot done. Built the whole plane, built the engines, built the fuel systems, did all that. Did takeoffs and landings, and I explained some things about how to take off and stuff like that. So, on that note, we're delivered. I'm going to go ahead and head back to the plane. We should probably grab a package, yeah. So we'll go to... Where's the one that goes to Test Island? Any of them go back to Test Island? Test Island, here we go. Test Depot. Fish. And we'll look at the current job. It says fish. ER30. Test Island. Underneath that. No. DR30. I'm only going to take one. That'll leave us some playroom so I can come back and play this again and do a few small flights. So originally when I first seen a video of how to play this game, or just somebody playing, there was only like 2 or 3 packages or whatever, and once you delivered them, that was it. But apparently they added more packages now, so you can go to multiple locations and stuff. Well, there's 3 locations. Get back in there? Yeah. Alright, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and save the game. And we'll take off next time. Save. Why it keeps doing it. Save. Package delivered. And we'll leave off where we left off next time, I guess. Alright, that's going to be it for me, guys. If you watched, thanks for watching. If you tune in after, I appreciate your view. On that note, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed this post because, like I said, my health is just not well, and it's taken a long time for me to be able to get back to feeling just even a little bit myself, and I'm still going through it. So, on that note, till next time, guys. Peace.